Yo ho ho in the Security Weekly News, episode 335. I'm Doug White, and it's Friday the 20th of October 2023. We've got Skynet awakens, India, North Korea, China, passwords, KeePass, or KeePass, depending on how you put the accent, Cisco, AI, Aaran Leyland, and more on the Security Weekly News.
This is a Security Weekly production for security professionals by security professionals. Please visit securityweekly.com/subscribe to subscribe to all the shows on our network.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
It's the show that keeps you up to date on the latest security news twice a week. Your trusted source for accurate security information and expert analysis. It's time for the Security Weekly News. AI, accelerated cloud adoption, and hybrid work are fundamentally shifting how business gets done. The old way of securing your people, apps, and data doesn't work and scale anymore. To stay ahead, today's organizations need to reimagine their security and networking infrastructure with a cloud-first, unified SASE architecture. Join Palo Alto Networks and leading technologists from across the globe for SASE Converge 2023, a two-day virtual experience, November 15th and 16th. Revealing how SASE powered by advanced AI can drive better security and networking outcomes. Register today at securityweekly.com/Palo Alto.
Business Security Weekly is live streamed and recorded on Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Each week, we address the challenges facing CISOs through our guest interviews, including former and active CISOs. Our news segment is focused on leadership and communication to better help security leaders translate and communicate security risks into business risks. Jason Albuquerque, Ben Carr, Tyler Robinson, and others add their expertise to the conversation. I'm Matt Alderman, and I hope you search for Business Security Weekly in your favorite podcast catcher and subscribe to download our latest content.
All right, it's the Security Weekly News, and I'm Doug White. So let's see. So this first report, I could not believe this. I actually literally went, when I saw this headline, I went to double check that it wasn't from like The Onion or something. I was so shocked by this. But this report examines admin passwords, and it was put out by Outpost 24's group on that. And it's just kind of sad. They looked at more than 1.8 million pages, which were sitting on admin portals. So these are like HTTP, HTTPS portals. These are these admin portals I talk about all the time, outward-facing admin portals. So, I mean, that, which is also sad. But they didn't really say how they examined this exactly. I mean, it wasn't clear if they were using some kind of a brute forcer or what. But anyway, they claimed this. But basically, they were looking at the outward-facing HTTP, HTTPS pages, which should not be outward-facing in the first place. I'll keep saying that. But they found that, as we've always known, admins aren't very good at setting passwords. Of these 1.8 million pages that they looked at, 40,000 of them had the password set to default. Really? I mean, I guess I should not be surprised. I mean, it's crazy. The top 20 passwords that they found, listen to this. Number one, with a bullet, admin. I feel like Casey Kasem. Number one, I'd be doing it the other way around, though. Admin. I'm not kidding. The number two most common password in this collection, 123456. Now, number three, though, obviously some people read the best practice guidelines and set their password to 12345678. They were going for that added security, 1234 came in at number 4, followed by password, followed by 123, 12345, admin 123, 123456789, admin ISP. I mean, I could read the whole top 20, but I'm not going to, because by now you're probably like vomiting into a bucket. I do get that we all make mistakes, and we've all left a default password set on something at some point in history, but this is pretty damn ridiculous. I was really, really shocked by that. So, don't open access to your admin portals. I mean, that's just like step one. Put that on a private VLAN with VPN access to it if you have remote workers who need to access these admin portals. No outward-facing stuff. Don't even let it be outward facing internally, because you may have employees who are going, I didn't get that raise last year. Maybe I'd like to, do some bad things. Scan for bad passwords regularly. I mean, you need to be doing this. Make it a cron job. I mean, come on, it's not that hard. I used to have a cron job that just did that for me and reported bad passwords. Get rid of your default passwords. You've got to identify these things and get rid of them on all your devices. And I can't believe I'm still having to say all this. I mean, if you kids keep this up, I'm going to pull this car over, and then, boy, howdy. That's my dad right there. I would never say that kind of stuff. No way. I'm not my dad. No, I'm not. Really. Well, a Google Ads campaign was found to have a fake KeePass download site associated with it. The fake site used puny code to appear to be an official domain of the KeePass password manager site, but was instead distributing malware. Now, basically what this is it's the result of several things, but one of those things is being able to abuse Google Ads to show a legit domain for KeePass in an ad that then creates a forwarding redirect that allows them to redirect that valid domain, even though it's redirecting to an invalid domain. So there's not a linkage apparently between where it redirects after multiple hops. Now, the valid one is keepass.info. So this is an actual legitimate password vaulting tool that is out there. But when you see the ad, you go, oh, okay. And you look at the link and you go, oh, okay. But when you click the link, it redirects you what do you call that person? The clicker? It redirects the clicker into very different paths based on your system profile, because they're targeting Windows users. They don't want sandbox users. They don't want bots. They don't want virtual machines or any of the kind of ways that we always go to look at these sites. So if you are on a virtual machine and you go to the site, it redirects you to a valid site. But if you're a Windows user and you're not running a sandbox, then it redirects you to this other puny code designated site. And so after the automated check, you end up at a domain that officially is called xn-eepass-vbb.info, which you say, well, no one would look at that and think that was a valid domain. But that's not what it shows up as. When it's displayed, this is a tagging system that displays in the URL bar as a K with a minor intonation mark underneath it. So if you've ever seen that K, it's got like just a little tiny apostrophe underneath the middle of the K in most fonts. You can barely see it, and it looks like keepass.info, but there's a little tiny tag underneath that K. So puny code. It's really hard to spot. I did a couple of experiments with it, and it was why originally I remember on Pulse Security Weekly, I bought Hot Horse and Hoot Horse. The O's have slashes through them, because I wanted to demo this to one of my classes, and it's at a con. I was talking about puny code, and I was using Hot Horse and Hoot Horse, which look exactly the same in the URL bar. So, and puny code's a neat trick. It's very, very dangerous, and because all of our training material says verify the URL and the link. Okay, in this case, it's completely valid, and then verify the link on the URL bar. Well, unless you look awfully close, and some browsers may not show it at all, especially on a phone or something, you're not even going to be able to see that tiny little apostrophe underneath the K. It's really, really small. Now, Google removed their original ad after they found it, but there's all kinds of others that are still there that are variations of typo squatting and things like that. So there's like one that's called keeqass.info. So again, if you don't look carefully, and sometimes your eyes play tricks on you, and you think that was a P, but it's not. All of these download malware files, which were developed by FakeBat, and the FakeBat PowerShell script then downloads and installs various malware on the Windows machines. The test they ran downloaded a GPG encrypted RAR archive, decrypted it, and extracted it into the app data folder on the local machine. They said they weren't exactly sure what the final goal of this campaign is, but that a previous similar campaign that Sophos reported on, that they linked FakeBat with Redline, URSNIF, and Radamathus. So a tough one. I mean, I don't know exactly how you beat this. It may have to be stopped by URL blocking, but even then it's hard to keep up with. It may have to be stopped with download management and install management, or people are going to get got with this stuff, so be warned. Well, we warned about this last week, but now over 40,000 Cisco iOS XE devices have been infected with a backdoor using the 0-day we were talking about last week. There's currently no patch for it, and there's not even a workaround, according to Cisco, for this vulnerability, which is maximum severity. I mean, this is a remote code execution vulnerability that will allow people to compromise Cisco iOS XE devices. Basically, Cisco has advised customers that are using iOS XE to disable the HTTP server feature on all internet-facing systems. Again, you should not be allowing internet access to these HTTP servers anyway. If you need it, it's on a management VLAN. It's VPN access only for restricted users. You should not be letting people connect to these Cisco devices over the internet directly. But as we saw earlier, best practice isn't always followed. On Tuesday, LeakIX engine for indexing services and web apps exposed on the public web said they had found 30,000 infected devices. The search they were doing relied on Cisco's indicators of compromise that Cisco had published. But by Wednesday, estimates that were around 34,500 devices were infected with a malicious implant. I like malicious implant. Can you say Locutus of Borg? Yeah, that's how you get Locutus of Borg, right there, malicious implant. Well, CertOrange they did a study and then published a Python script that would allow you to scan for the implant on network devices that were running Cisco iOS XE. Census said they put out an update on Wednesday that found around 41,983 devices that had been compromised already. Shodan showed slightly more than 145,000 outward-facing hosts that were running Cisco iOS XE HTTP on the internet in the U.S. alone. So go ahead and type no HTTP server, no HTTP secure server on the command line, or isolate these devices right now, or you're going to get got. I mean, I keep saying it, but we just keep seeing it, and it's like, wow. I can't believe this. And sometimes people call me and say, what do you mean when you say you shouldn't have this admin outward facing? And I'm like, it's pretty obvious, but okay, get on this now. And we don't need these kind of reports. Well, I was just doing this meeting in Miami and I hosted a panel on AI and I went to a keynote on AI. And let me tell you, keynotes with open bars get a lot better attendance than keynotes with no open bars. I mean, seriously, you want to have people at your keynote, have an open bar. Lots of people show up. In fact, people that maybe shouldn't even be there show up. But anyway, this article was about how we are woefully unprepared for AI in terms of policy. Now, we've all heard about the threat of AI and on and on and on, and we've talked about it and flogged that horse unendingly. But this one was interesting to me because they were talking about policy. And I think the interesting thing here is that we aren't writing good policies ahead of the breaking AI wave and is going to continue breaking over us for probably all time to come. I mean, you think about it. An employee has an AI fill out their TPS report. Is that okay? Well, if you say it's not okay, do you have a policy that says it's not okay? I mean, it's one thing to say we try to stop this. It's another thing to say how do we enforce it. But if you don't even have a policy about it, then you can't literally enforce it at all. I mean, what if the AI screws up and reports 9,000 widgets being made, even though we don't make any widgets and we haven't made widgets since 1934? And wait, hang on a sec. Are those widgets moving? Wait, what is that creepy glow coming from? Oh, yeah, you get the idea, right? But seriously, what's your policy? I mean, do you have a policy? Have you looked at this? I mean, if you hire me and I'm supposed to write you a white paper on why you shouldn't expose your HTTP admin interface with the password Gandalf, and I just ask ChatGPT to dash that off instead and send it to you and then bill you, is that wrong? I mean, I don't know. I mean, ethically, it seems kind of wrong to me, but at the same time, do you have a policy about it? I mean, you're going to have policies on all this and about how employees can use this stuff and when they need to do further research and so forth. And so this article is just kind of a good thought read to get you maybe, thinking about what kind of policies you really already need yesterday, but you're at very best going to have very, very soon because you are going to be dealing with this stuff and it is going to fall on CISOs, I think, to deal with it and put these policies in place. So start thinking about it right now. Well, China has always been a hostile foreign power during my life. I've been around a while. I remember when Nixon went to China, and this was the first time that anybody even went to China. Americans couldn't go there at all, easily. And China's a great place. I mean, it's beautiful. It's got every kind of culture. It's been there for thousands of years. They have great food. I love Chinese people. but I'm not a big fan of their government. Now that I've said that, I probably can't ever go there again. But a recent meeting in California involved a public gathering of the heads of intelligence agencies from the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Australia, and New Zealand, which is called Five Eyes, which is going to be my DJ name. I'm telling you right now. I mean, it's like Five Eyes, throw down some sick beats. Yeah. Right? I mean, wouldn't that be cool if your DJ name was Five Eyes? I kind of like it. Or maybe my middle name could be Five Eyes. I don't know. Or maybe my mafia name is like Doug Five Eyes White. But anywho, Christopher Wray, who's the FBI director in the United States, said that China's intellectual property and cyber espionage campaigns pose a, quote, unprecedented threat to global innovation, because they're stealing stuff through cyber espionage, right? Chinese groups have been behind many recent threats, including the Volt Typhoon issue, the space sector, and so on. And they have been doing this for a long time. Now, I went to this training back in the 1980s where they were telling me that, if Chinese people approach me in bars, if women approach me in bars, which that's never happened ever, so I knew that would be suspicious. But, Chinese and Russians who are approaching you in bars, asking you about what you're doing at work, just wanting to chat, whatever, that these could be a problem. And I think the advice of don't deal with this is still solid today, only now Boris Badenoff doesn't have to try to get me to come over to the window by going, psst, psst, hey, do no moose and squirrel. They can just log into my Rocket Space startup with the admin password of 12345678890 because I use that extra security. So, I mean, I think the point here for all of us is that these are nation states that are putting money behind cyber espionage. So if you are in these critical infrastructure industries and so forth, you got to be particularly careful. Even if you're not a top secret government facility, you're going to have to act like one, because if your employees don't know any better, and they're still doing this manually too, don't you worry. They're still sending out physical agents to try to approach employees, but they're also approaching them online. They're approaching them via all sorts of other media like LinkedIn and so forth to try to get connections into these organizations. So be careful out there and start thinking about that. Now, in the same light, the U.S. government has announced that they have seized 17 website domains that were being used by North Korea, another foreign hostile nation, that are producing IT workers who are attempting to defraud business sectors all around the world. Now, the goal of this apparently is funding the North Korean ballistic missile program. So the Department of Justice in the United States said that the U.S. has confiscated approximately $1.5 million of revenue that had been collected by scamming victims since October 2022. Now, the court documents said, and so I'm not sure if it's a scam or not. I mean, it's a sort of scam, but the court documents basically said that the workers in the scam primarily live in China or Russia because they don't want to be in North Korea, but they live in China or Russia, and they have the aim to deceive companies, particularly in the U.S. and Europe, by getting hired by those companies as contract workers. They use fake identities, claim to be Chinese or Russian nationals, and then they get a job with you as a contract worker. Now, according to Mandiant, the IT workers are part of the Workers' Party of Korea's Munitions Industry Department. And the workers get the contracts from their clients, and they mostly engage in legitimate IT work. But their pay all goes into the missile fund, right? So this is a communist country where no one gets paid anyway. Everybody works for the government, or these are military people, or who knows what. But they do this, but it did say that on occasion they have misused their access to allow cyber intrusions carried out by North Korea. So, you basically have a spy working for your company who's doing legitimate help desk or whatever, but they have access to your networks, they have access to your infrastructure, and they have access to your employees. So I guess if nothing else, this is a call to better vet the people you hire, especially online unseen employees. I mean, we caught people in real world with fake degrees, fake transcripts, fake names, all kinds of stuff, when we were vetting employees for companies. But if you're hiring online workers, this is tough. Especially if you're hiring an online worker and you go, well, I got a great deal on this worker in China that's going to work at our help desk. I mean, okay, I don't want you to discriminate against people, but you better be vetting these people very carefully, because if you don't, you may get one of these basically spy people working for you directly, and that could probably be bad. On that same topic, the Indian Central Bureau of Investigation raided alleged fake tech support operators and other tech-related crimes across India. Now, I knew that guy that didn't really sound like Chad from Ogallala, Nebraska on the phone that was telling me they could fix my computer. But The Thursday operation conducted 76 searches related to 5 cases, which resulted from information provided by Amazon and Microsoft. The alleged scammers were running call centers in 5 regions of India, and they called foreign nationals claiming to be tech support reps for at least the last 5 years. And, of course, they were claiming to be from Microsoft, they're from Amazon. We've all had these calls. They also use pop-up ads that advise that you have PC problems. Click here. They had a toll-free support number. You call the call center. Now, a lot of us already know and have called these just for fun to see what would happen. But when you call them, of course, they basically try to walk you through downloading an access tool like Log Me In that allows them to take over your local computer. I had a whole bunch of fun with this, pretending to be my dad one time, and I called them, and they basically were trying, and I was doing that stuff called, what's the any key? Oh, no, my computer rebooted. You'll have to wait a while. And then I would play Norwegian death metal over the phone on hold while I, supposed he was waiting on the computer to boot back up. After about 10 minutes, the guy started swearing at me and hung up, but it was pretty funny in the meantime. But the raids also targeted a cryptocurrency fraud case that was found by the Financial Intelligence Unit of India. This one sought investors who were willing to fund the purchase of mining machinery, like presuming video cards, which would be used on crypto that didn't exist yet. So they were, they were going to set this up. All the profits, of course, were going to be sent to you just as soon as they got up and running, and investors had basically put in about $20 million, but no mining machines ever emerged, and the thing went away. And, of course, this is the old gold mine scam where, somebody in a bar sells you a map to a hidden treasure, and you give them all your money, and, and then you go find out that the map leads you to, like, an old garbage dump in New Jersey or something. Not that ever happened to me. But none of these scams are anything new, but they are enabled by the internet and access to just about everyone on the planet. So it's good to see India going after these groups where they've been operating there for a long time. I don't know if they'll do anything about it or it'll have any effect at all. They may just move across the street and set back up and start doing it again. But you do need to be warning your people about these scams, and it would be a good idea to have some, help for all your employees. Well, they blew up the Chicken Man in Philly last night, and they blew up his house too, but they didn't blow up Mr. Aaran Leyland. Well, hello, Aaron.
Hello, Dr. Doug. How's your week going?
Fine. I think I've used 2 Bruce Springsteen lyrics in a row now. I'll have to find somebody else. So I know that. I think I used a Bruce Springsteen lyric last week too, but yeah, I'm okay. How about you?
Do you have a Bruce Springsteen lyric for somebody finding me a new job?
Well, probably. I'll think about that one. Somebody needs to find you a new job. Yeah, you need a new job right now. Somebody hire Aaron.
New job.
Hire Aaron today. He's willing to do anything for $1.
Hire Aaron today before he gets sacked off Security Weekly for talking about needing a new job. Okay, right. Before we both get cancelled, I'll expect a Bruce Springsteen lyric when we come back. Okay. Good. In a good mood now. Thank you, Doug. Hackers exploit QR codes with QRL jacking for malware distribution. This made me laugh today because all I could think about was, other than the pharmaceutical companies and friends of the UK Conservative Party, I actually talk often about QR codes were the big winners during COVID. Because I think before COVID, they were probably dying out, but with nobody able to touch anything for 2 years, QR codes definitely won. And that's me barred from the Conservative Party, probably. Whoop-de-doo. Okay, QR codes have undoubtedly simplified access to information and services, becoming an integral part of our daily lives. Yet the versatility of QR codes also presents a new frontier. I love that, a new frontier for cyber threats. Recently, cybersecurity researchers have observed a surge in QR code-related cyber attacks, particularly, that's a new word, those involving QRL jacking and quishing attacks, if that's how you pronounce both of them, aimed at phishing and malware distribution. I'll go further into those details as we go along and also offer some recommendations. I can also see my background's bleeding, so production have told me to stop moving my head. The sun's literally shining through my window in fall in London in the UK. Very strange. QR codes are a double-edged sword. While convenient, have evolved into a potential target for exploitation. Security firm SlashNext, never heard of them, has revealed that threat actors are actively capitalizing on their capabilities, leading to an increased prevalence of QR code-related cyber attacks. The inherent flexibility of QR codes, which can encode complex data and redirect users to external websites and applications, is what makes them susceptible to manipulation. I will now just go further into the technicalities behind QR codes, because there's some stuff in here I didn't know. Maybe you knew, but I didn't know. So a QR code, short for quick response code. Did anybody know that? How cool. Is a two-dimensional matrix-based code that is designed to store data in a highly efficient and compact manner. Unlike traditional barcodes, QR codes can store various types of information, including alphanumeric characters, binary data, and special characters, making them versatile like me. I won't talk about needing a new job. For a wide range of applications, a typical QR code consists of black squares arranged on a white background in a square grid pattern. Although recently I've seen loads more interesting looking ones that are probably quite eye-catching for the kids. QR codes are specifically designed to be easily scanned and decoded by devices such as smartphones, tablets, or even specialized QR code readers, whatever they are. The amount of data a QR code can hold largely depends on its version and type of data it's encoding. I didn't even know there was different ones. How cool is that? QR codes come in multiple versions, which are represented by the number of rows and columns in the grid. The more rows and columns, the higher the version, and in turn, the more data the QR code can hold. Obviously, the capacity of a QR code is often measured in terms of modules, where a module is the smallest unit in the grid. Okay, so here are some points regarding a QR code's data capacity. We have data types. QR codes can store a variety of data types, including text, URLs, contact information, can be known as vCards, calendar events, Wi-Fi network credentials, and much, much more. We have numeric and alphanumeric data. QR codes can efficiently encode both numeric and alphanumeric characters. Numeric data allows for higher storage capacity as compared to alphanumeric data, which doesn't seem right to me. But anyway, that's what it says. Okay, error correction. QR codes, and I didn't know this, often come with built-in error correction to ensure data integrity, even if the code is partially damaged or obstructed. Interesting, very good. Versions, QR codes come in different versions, like ridiculously ranging, or not so, ranging from version 1 to version 40. Higher versions have more modules, as mentioned earlier, probably a CISP question, who knows, allowing for increased data storage. Capacity, the data capacity of a QR code can vary greatly, but for alphanumeric characters, a standard version 40 QR code can hold several thousand characters, quite a bit more than a barcode then. Binary data, QR codes can encode binary data efficiently, making them suitable for applications like sharing files or storing encrypted data. Their flexibility has led to widespread use of QR codes in various fields, including advertising, marketing, logistics, and information sharing. And for me, mostly restaurants, which actually completely drives me insane because I love an analog menu and also no phones at the table. But hey ho, hey ho, hey ho. Okay, so the crux of it. There has been two primary methods through which threat actors exploit QR codes. And here it is, quishing or QRL jacking. A quishing attack. This method involves circulating QR codes containing malicious links or malware downloads on various platforms, including social media, posters, restaurant menus, ads, and phishing emails. When an unsuspecting user scans a QR code, they are either redirected to a phishing website or inadvertently downloaded malware onto their devices. Notably, Confins, if that's how you pronounce that, uncovered a phishing campaign targeting high-profile organizations that utilized malicious QR codes, impacting a US energy company in August 2023. So then we have QRL jacking, which stands for Quick Response Code Login Jacking. And that is a social engineering technique that exploits a QR code login feature found in apps and websites, often targeting QR codes with short lifespans. In this attack, threat actors create a convincing phishing site resembling the login page of the targeted website or app. They then generate a fake QR code and distribute it via messaging apps, emails, or even SMS. When a victim scans a QR code, they unwittingly log into the fraudulent session rather than the legitimate app. As a result, their sensitive data, such as access tokens, are stolen. An incident involving QRL jacking was reported in August 2023 when cybersecurity researcher Christian Void Gustini uncovered an attack targeting the Steam gaming platform. In the hands of the attackers, QR codes become a versatile tool for various nefarious activities, and they come as follows. Phishing. Threat actors use QR codes to redirect users to counterfeit websites that closely mimic legitimate ones. Unsuspecting victims may enter sensitive data like financial information and login credentials, falling into a trap set by the attackers. Also, malware distribution. Cybercriminals embed QR codes with links that, when scanned, deploy malware onto the user's device, granting unauthorized access to their system. And then we have social engineering. QR codes can be manipulated to display deceptive information or fake promotional offers, leading users to take actions that financially benefit the attacker. Okay, now for the best part. Recommendations. Preventing QR code-based attacks requires vigilance and a set of protective measures. So we have source verification. Always scan QR codes from trusted sources. Ridiculous sometimes. And double check the destination URL before scanning. Also ridiculous, especially what Dr. Doug was talking about earlier in the show. Vigilance is the first line of defense, unless you can't see that vigilance. Good luck. Software updates, as always, regularly update antivirus software to ensure the latest security protections are in place. Go do that now. And then organizational measures for organizations. Secure QR code generation and management systems are essential. Conducting regular security audits of QR code usage helps identify vulnerabilities and mitigate risks effectively. So in conclusion, QR codes, initially designed for convenience, have inadvertently become a new area for attack. The surge in QR-related cyber attacks, particularly QRL jacking and quishing, underscores the need for heightened awareness and proactive security measures. So by staying informed, listening to us, verifying sources, and implementing robust security practice, individuals and organizations can effectively protect themselves from the growing threat of QR code exploitation. How do you like them lemons? Okay, back to you in the studio, Dr. Doug, with your quote of the day or lyric of the day.
No, I'm not doing that right. We'll do it next time. Don't you worry. I got to research that. I don't know that many lyrics off the top of my head, but I hate QR codes. I appreciate that I don't have to touch some greasy menu that probably a person with like some kind of open running sores was using just before me. But I hate QR codes because you don't know if they're legit, and it's in a moment of vulnerability when you are sitting down and you want to order food and it's like, oh, we don't have a menu to scan this QR code, which may have been put there legitimately or may have been put there or somebody slapped another one over the top of it. I've seen them on ski lifts where it says like check the lift, check the trail maps, and I'm like, yeah, I don't like QR codes. Thank you, Aaron. And finally, Skynet is likely soon. Yeah, I think so. OpenAI declared on Tuesday that ChatGPT Plus and enterprise users, along with Browse with Bing, which browse with Bing sounds to me, I get this, I think I dreamed it. It gives me an image of a guy with a pipe in a black and white film looking through copies of Life magazine and then slapping me before suddenly turning into a butterfly that looks like Rick James and flying away singing Super Freak in a minor key. Sorry, I have weird dreams sometimes, but regardless, these services are unleashing the Kraken, and what they're all bragging about now, because everybody's in this war of who can get the best AI the fastest, and they're allowing ChatGPT free reign on the interweb. So they've restricted it before. Now they're saying, hey, just go for it. You know, when you turn a 3-year-old loose on the internet and they come back a year later smoking a cigar with a tattoo of an anchor on their arm, yeah, that kind of thing. OpenAI is on its little... what do they call that? Wanderjahr or something like that. Jahrespringe is that word for that. But when OpenAI gets back from its Jahrespringe, it's going to be adding a lot of other information that's getting from all corners of the internet, and that gets pretty dangerous. So I think very shortly people are going to be mistakenly thinking that this AI has all the answers. And I mean, they have been doing that with the internet for years. If you just click the first link on search terms, you may well get misinformation or who knows what it's going to be. It may be trolling. It may be just plain evil. It's hard to tell. It's very worrisome, but it's also very interesting at the same time. So we'll keep watching that. That's the news. Thanks, Aaron. I'll see you next week on the Security Weekly News. So until then, bye.